Back from the dead indeed. The Jonathan Kuminga trade buzz has returned, and this time, it's getting serious again, thanks to some noise coming out of Sacramento. A local Kings radio host has reignited the conversation that just won't seem to die. Could the Kings still be in the running to land Kuminga? Could we actually see a last-minute sign-in trade go down after weeks of radio silence between both franchises? Let's dive into the latest developments, because while the Warriors front office has publicly downplayed any real momentum on a deal, there's now real smoke and possibly fire surrounding a Sacramento offer. Let's be clear, the Warriors have shut down most of the sign-in trade conversations regarding Kuminga. That's not speculation. That's from multiple trusted league sources. And yet, here we are, because this Kings buzz isn't just a recycled rumor. It's based on some legitimate reporting that suggests Sacramento isn't ready to give up on acquiring the former lottery pick. They're reportedly still dangling Malik Monk and a protected first-round pick, which could become unprotected under the right pressure. That's not nothing, especially considering Golden State's current roster construction and financial situation. The irony is rich. Just a few weeks ago, it felt like every potential suitor for Kuminga either pivoted to other options or backed out entirely. Miami and Chicago sniffed around but never made official proposals. Phoenix and Sacramento, on the other hand, actually submitted offers, both trade-wise and in terms of contract negotiations with Kuminga's camp. The Suns supposedly put out a 4-year deal, while the Kings threw down a 3-year, $63 million offer. But Golden State didn't bite. Still, when you break it all down, the Kings might have been the most aggressive and realistic partner all along. From Sacramento's perspective, the strategy is clear. They're banking on Kuminga eventually caving and signing the qualifying offer, forcing Golden State to either lose him for nothing or take what they can get while there's still time. And what they're offering, Malik Monk and a pick, is a calculated play. It's not about overwhelming value. It's about leverage. The Kings know that if the Warriors let this drag out, they risk internal friction, an awkward locker room dynamic, and a completely wasted asset if Kuminga walks next offseason. Let's say it straight. If you're the Warriors and you believe the title window is still cracked open, you do not need another season of uncertainty around Kuminga. It's not about whether he's talented. He is. But it's clear he doesn't fit seamlessly into what Steve Kerr wants to run, and bringing him back might only prolong the inevitable. The offer on the table gives the Warriors a starting caliber scorer in Monk, who's already proven he can handle backup playmaking duties, and a potential future draft asset. That's not a bad return for a player who might not be part of your core. Now here's where it gets more interesting. The potential trade structure would reportedly involve Golden State sending out either Buddy Hield or Moses Moody in addition to Kuminga. From the Warriors' standpoint, that's where things get a little tricky. Most fans would agree, trading Moody in that package would sting. He's younger, improving on both ends, and brings that classic Warrior-style versatility. Buddy Hield, on the other hand, while solid, is more expendable in this equation. He had a few moments last season, including a memorable Game 7, but he's not untouchable. And if the Kings actually do unprotect that 2030 first-round pick, then this whole conversation changes. Suddenly, you're not just trading away Kuminga and salary filler. You're getting a legitimate backcourt weapon in Monk, who spaces the floor and gives you shot creation off the bench, plus an unprotected pick that could hold serious value, depending on where the Kings end up 5 years from now. That's a lot more appealing than just rolling the dice on a player who still isn't sure where he fits in your rotation. Golden State's backcourt, in fact, would still be in great shape. You'd have Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, assuming he stays, D'Anthony Melton, and Malik Monk. That's depth. That's shooting. That's flexibility. Monk doesn't need the ball to be effective, despite what some fans assume. His shot diet is actually pretty diverse. He can create for himself, sure, but he also thrives as a catch-and-shoot player. Last year, over 25% of his attempts were catch-and-shoot threes, and he hit those at a solid 35% clip. That's a number that should improve in Golden State's system, which historically boosts the efficiency of perimeter scores. The analytics support Monk even more when you dig into his shot zones. He converts at over 56% from inside 10 feet, an elite number for a guard who's not considered a top-tier athlete. He also attacks the basket more often than fans might think. Sure, he has areas to clean up. His pull-up twos, for example, are inefficient and taken too often, but that's manageable. Golden State's coaching staff has a strong track record of refining that kind of shot selection, especially under Kerr's system. What about the argument that Monk is a defensive liability? Okay, fair enough. He's not Marcus Smart. But guess what? Neither is Kuminga. That's the part of the debate that gets lost in fan conversations. People talk about Kuminga like he's some elite stopper. He's not. He could be. The tools are there. The physicality is there. But the effort, the focus, the IQ, not consistently. When you dive into Golden State's own internal defensive metrics, like defensive box plus-minus from the postseason, Kuminga was at the bottom of the roster. He wasn't doing the dirty work. He wasn't locking up scores. Anthony Edwards cooked him all series. 60% from the field when guarded by Kuminga? That's not elite defense. And the more you peel back the layers on this whole Jonathan Kuminga saga, the more you realize just how broken the relationship has become between him and the Warriors organization. It's not even necessarily personal. It's structural, philosophical. At its core, this isn't about ego or emotion. It's about two parties seeing their futures going in completely opposite directions, and neither one is willing to compromise. Kuminga believes he's ready for a starring role. He believes he's outgrown the confines of a Warriors system that preaches ball movement, selflessness, and patience. In Golden State, for all its willingness to develop young talent in theory, simply hasn't shown the consistency or the tactical vision to make Kuminga a priority in their offense. They never fully committed to him, and now they're paying the price. Steve Kerr's system isn't built for players like Kuminga to thrive without significant adjustments. It just isn't. If you're a young, athletic wing who thrives with the ball in your hands and wants to operate in space, you're going to struggle when playing next to Steph and Draymond, who essentially dictate the flow of every possession. Kuminga's skill set requires structure that centers around him. In Golden State, that will never be the case. And it's been obvious for a while now that Kuminga knows that. You can see it in his body language during stretches where he barely touches the ball for entire quarters. You can feel it in the awkward quotes during post-game pressers. And while the team has done their best to mask the tension, this offseason has blown the cover completely off. The Warriors have tried to act like they still have the leverage, that they're in control. But the deeper we get into this situation, the more fragile that posture looks. The longer this drags out, the fewer options they'll have. No contender wants to bring in a player with a cloudy contract situation and unclear role. And no rebuilding team is going to give up premium assets for someone they might only control for a single season. So if Kuminga truly is considering signing the qualifying offer, the Warriors' risk skyrockets. They go from maybe getting a solid trade package to potentially losing a top 10 pick for absolutely nothing. That's a devastating outcome, especially for a franchise that has clung to its young core as a backup plan for the inevitable decline of their championship trio. What's even more frustrating for Golden State is that they had options. They had windows to trade Kuminga before his value dipped, before the tension became public, before the front office overhaul and the miscommunication. There were times when Kuminga's flashes, those 20-point nights where he looked like a two-way monster, drew serious interest from teams around the league. And yet, the Warriors held firm. They treated him like a premium prospect, but never gave him the freedom to fully prove it. They wanted to have it both ways, develop young talent and win now. That balance has never worked in the NBA, and it's not working here either. Meanwhile, Malik Monk represents everything Golden State should be prioritizing right now. A high IQ scorer who's embraced his sixth-man role, who plays with energy, who doesn't need constant touches to be effective. He was the Kings' engine off the bench last season, often closing games, often bailing them out of dead possessions. He's not a perfect player. His defense is still a question mark. But in a Warriors system where defensive schemes are driven more by team principles than one-on-one dominance, Monk would hold up just fine, especially when surrounded by guys like Draymond and Melton, who can cover for perimeter lapses. And again, the contract matters. Monk is about to enter his prime and would be locked into a cost-control deal that makes financial sense for a franchise trying to duck the second apron. That's not just a luxury, it's a necessity. The Warriors are not operating with the same blank check budget they had in years past. Every move now has to serve a dual purpose: make the team better and make the books cleaner. Monk checks both boxes. Kuminga? He's an unknown on both fronts. His production is inconsistent, and his next contract, if the Warriors extend him, could put them in a worse position cap-wise without any guarantee of elite-level return. Some might argue that Golden State should be more patient, that they owe it to themselves to see if Kuminga makes the leap. But when? How long do you wait? Because this isn't year one or year two. He's heading into his fourth season, and the excuses are running thin. If he was going to become the kind of two-way player the Warriors believed he could be, we would have seen more evidence by now. Instead, what we've seen is flashes, short bursts of excellence followed by long stretches of invisibility. That's not the hallmark of a cornerstone. That's the profile of a project. And projects are fine on the right team. The Kings, for example, are positioned to take that risk. They have established stars in De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, but they also have the time and space to bring along a young talent like Kuminga without messing up their internal chemistry. They don't need him to be great immediately. They just need him to show up, buy in, and fit into a role while he grows. Sacramento has been trying to find that defensive-minded forward who can switch, run the floor, and cover up some of Sabonis' weaknesses on that end. Kuminga, in theory, checks those boxes, and unlike Golden State, they might actually be willing to let him play through his mistakes. But the Warriors? They're in win-now mode, whether they like it or not. As long as Steph Curry is on the roster, that's the mandate. You cannot waste another season experimenting with rotations, managing egos, and hoping the light bulb clicks. That's not how contenders operate. It's time to get serious about roster construction, and that means cutting ties with assets that no longer align with the vision. Kuminga might thrive elsewhere, but the odds of him thriving here continue to shrink. Let's not ignore the other factor at play here: locker room politics. Buddy Hield is another name caught in the crossfire, and while he's been a positive presence off the court, he's not untouchable either. If the deal requires including him to make the salaries match, that's a price Golden State should be willing to pay. Hield is a phenomenal shooter, but he's a one-dimensional player who can be replicated in the right system. You've already brought in other floor spacers. Monk and Melton can provide what Hield does, and in some ways more, especially when it comes to shot creation and defensive engagement. Because in the end, this isn't about proving who won the trade. It's about aligning the present with the future. And right now, Kuminga is not part of that alignment. The sooner the Warriors accept that, the better their chances of building a team that's actually built to contend, not just in theory, but on the floor. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are beginning to circulate around the NBA circles, suggesting that the Golden State Warriors may have just made a move that could alter the dynamics of their roster significantly, as reports indicate they have acquired forward David Roddy from the Houston Rockets. While official statements remain scarce, the speculation alone has been enough to set social media ablaze, with analysts debating how Roddy's addition could influence the Warriors' rotation. Known for his versatility and ability to contribute on both ends of the floor, Roddy has shown flashes of potential during his time with the Rockets, often providing key minutes that blend scoring, defensive agility, and an unyielding energy that can ignite a bench. Some insiders suggest that this move may be an attempt by Golden State to inject fresh legs and defensive intensity into their wing positions, particularly as the team navigates through injuries and the grind of a demanding season schedule. There's also talk that the Warriors' front office sees in Roddy a player who can seamlessly integrate into their system, especially considering how head coach Steve Kerr values versatility, spacing, and defensive switchability, attributes that Roddy has been praised for in scouting reports. While nothing is confirmed yet, the mere possibility of Roddy joining a championship-contending squad has fueled a wave of speculation about lineup adjustments and how veteran players may need to adapt to his style of play, potentially creating a ripple effect that could redefine the team's identity on both offense and defense in the coming months. The buzz surrounding this rumored acquisition also revolves around how it could affect the Golden State Warriors' strategic approach to the season, especially with the play-in tournament and potential playoff seeding looming on the horizon. David Roddy, a forward known for his athleticism, perimeter shooting, and defensive tenacity, might be precisely what the Warriors need to reinforce their wings, particularly in scenarios where Andrew Wiggins' minutes are limited or when the team seeks to maintain defensive pressure without sacrificing spacing. Insiders speculate that the move could allow the coaching staff to experiment with lineups that feature Roddy alongside established stars like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, potentially creating mismatches for opponents who are accustomed to conventional Warriors rotations. Furthermore, some analysts argue that Roddy's presence could provide more freedom for Draymond Green to orchestrate the offense and make defensive adjustments without being overly constrained by matchup concerns. Despite the excitement, there are also questions regarding chemistry, as integrating a new player midseason always carries risks, from disrupted rhythm to changes in team hierarchy. Yet, the whispers in the sports media ecosystem suggest that the Warriors are betting on Roddy's adaptability, his capacity to read the game intelligently, and his potential to contribute immediately on both ends of the floor, all factors that have made this rumored acquisition a tantalizing prospect for fans who crave depth and energy in the Warriors' rotation. Adding to the intrigue is the timing of this rumored trade, which coincides with a period of intense scrutiny over the Warriors' consistency and performance against elite competition. David Roddy, whose performances with the Houston Rockets have been characterized by flashes of brilliance, could potentially address specific gaps in Golden State's rotation that have been exposed in recent matchups, particularly against athletic wings and high-scoring small forwards. Speculation within NBA circles suggests that the Warriors may view Roddy as a dual-purpose addition, one who can contribute immediately with defensive versatility while simultaneously developing under the guidance of seasoned veterans in the system. There is also chatter that this rumored acquisition is more than a temporary fix. Rather, it might be part of a broader strategy to maintain competitiveness while balancing long-term roster planning. Industry insiders note that players like Roddy often thrive in systems that emphasize movement, spacing, and team defense, and Golden State's proven culture of maximizing talent could unlock the forward's potential in ways that were not fully realized in Houston. Meanwhile, fans and commentators are dissecting every possible scenario for lineups, minutes distribution, and how this potential addition could influence the team's offensive schemes, defensive matchups, and overall chemistry. Though nothing has been officially announced, the growing buzz around David Roddy's rumored move to the Warriors is painting a picture of a team seeking to blend youthful energy, athleticism, and tactical flexibility in a season where every small advantage could prove decisive in the race toward the playoffs. The excitement around this possible acquisition has also ignited debates about how David Roddy might complement the existing core of Golden State Warriors players, including the challenges and opportunities his integration could create. Observers note that while the team boasts seasoned stars such as Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, the addition of a versatile wing like Roddy could provide them with more options in rotations, particularly in high-stakes situations where matchup versatility is paramount. Speculative reports indicate that Roddy's ability to guard multiple positions and contribute offensively without dominating the ball could allow Kerr to craft unique lineups that exploit opponents' weaknesses, creating a new dimension in the Warriors' strategic playbook. Moreover, whispers suggest that this rumored deal could signal a subtle shift in Golden State's approach to balancing veteran presence with younger, high-energy contributors who can thrive in small ball or hybrid schemes. Analysts are particularly interested in how Roddy's integration could impact minute distribution, with suggestions that his presence might ease the burden on Wiggins or allow Kevin Looney to play more freely without overextending defensively. Fans are eagerly theorizing about his role in crunch-time scenarios, potential on-court partnerships, and whether his skill set could translate into meaningful contributions during playoff runs. Even the most cautious commentators admit that while these possibilities remain speculative, the excitement surrounding the rumored acquisition is undeniable, fueling conversations about depth, strategic flexibility, and how one new addition could influence the dynamics of a championship-contending roster in unexpected ways. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.